Hey everyone, welcome to our SIG Release meeting. This meeting adheres to the Kubernetes Code of Conduct or the CNCF Code of Conduct, which basically boils down to be mindful what to say and be excellent to each other. Please add yourself to the list of attendees. We have Joseph as a note taker today, so thank you for that. And the first thing we do every time is welcoming any new members or attendees. Do we have anyone on the call who would like to introduce themselves? This does not seem the case. So let's start with our sub-project updates. Do we have anyone on the call from release engineering to give us an update about the ongoing release and the current dates?
I would like to see if I'll hold on for the release release manager update, but so currently I think the last updates on the release engineering front were that we promoted the new image promoter, which currently signs images. Some of the smaller projects have already signed images, and I think so as the patch releases are currently in the middle of getting released, some of the images for the 121 branch were already promoted, so those are out there and signed already, and things seem to be going on as expected. Currently, we have to do some more updates on the signing code to speed things up a little bit, as this is just the MVP working. But there is a chance that we may have to rethink the way we are doing the signatures, because there is the project to mirror the container images to AWS going on in Kate's SIG Infra, and the way they are planning to do the copying of the layers of all the container images is going to affect the order of the steps which we currently have. So just for context, when we run a new release, we stage all the images, and then after that, the promoter comes in and signs the promoted images, and then propagates those signatures to all the registry mirrors. The new proposal to mirror the images would involve mirroring all of the images before we promote them. So that means that we would have to get the signatures ready before promotion. So we may have to shift things around a little bit, and but otherwise than that, it's running as expected.
So I think that we should operate as if the mirroring project does not exist. And anything that is kind of anything that is remaining for like cleanup on the signing on the signing infrastructure, we should solve that first, right? I think that potentially, and I'm not sure if I'm getting pickup from someone's. I don't know if that's you, Adolfo.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah. So one, I think we should like define what done is for signing, at least for just our known existing container infrastructure, right? After that, we'll consider the mirroring stuff, because I think that part of this is like if we pull back and we say that signing is happening ahead of the promotion process, what happens with failures to the promotion process? What happens with signatures that are left behind, or signatures that have to get redone?
So you're saying that so what happens if we sign and then the promotion fails?
Right. So we have the promoter like consistently running, right? So like every hour it's going to check for promotions again. Can you talk more about what you mean as in like doing the signatures earlier?
Yeah, so I think this is still under discussion, but the idea would be to that the promotion process would involve taking all of the blobs from the layers and staging them, and then copying those to an AWS bucket. Right now, at least that's the current plan to do it. And in order to do that, we would have to add to those blobs the signatures as well, so that they get mirrored before. Because the project, what it's trying to do is to ensure that once the promotion is done, we absolutely know that the mirrors are consistent, and so that we don't start sending traffic over to a mirror that may be lacking some of the artifacts.
I don't know, I might still be missing it. And I also haven't reviewed this proposal. So I don't get where we might be falling over. But before the expectation is that, just to clarify, like the expectation is by the time we're doing the mirror that all of the artifacts are in place, including the signatures, right?
Exactly. And that's before the promoter finishes, and I think
why would it be before the promoter finishes? I would expect the mirroring to not start until after the promoter is done.
Yeah, that was my thinking too, but the idea is that the proxy redirector it's not a proxy, but the redirector that's going to send traffic to AWS, it's not going to be smart, so to say, and so to speak, and is not aware of what is or not inside of the mirrors. So it's just going to blindly send traffic just based on the IP address. So the only way to guarantee that it finds the artifacts it's expecting to serve is to make sure that those artifacts are ready before promotion finishes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I disagree with that. Like I get the intent. I mean, you know, like it sounds like we're introducing a point of failure into an existing process, and we shouldn't. In my head, the mirroring should be a trailing action. And it sounds like potentially there is a need to make the proxy smarter. I'd imagine that if an image or if a set of artifacts do not exist in the location that we're expecting them, it's a cache miss, right? So go to the original location to get the information. Arnaud, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to clarify one thing about the mirroring process. Basically, the proxy is not a cache per se. It's a redirector. Basically, any request coming from a Docker client will be identified based on the location. So firstly, if we want to identify traffic coming from AWS, so if we detect that traffic, we redirect the traffic to S3. And because of that, we want to make sure anyone coming from Amazon infrastructure is capable to pull the image. So we need to make sure the blobs of the image are present in the S3 bucket we want to redirect. And that's why we want to basically mirror the blob images before doing the promotion to GCR. That's why it's problematic, because basically if during a
It's very problematic. What I'm hearing is problematic for sure.
So during basically a promotion, let's say we promote pros 3.8 to basically, we want to make sure that's go to S3. So anyone willing to pull that from Amazon can pull that even before it's inside GCS. And that promotion can happen in the same time we do the promotion to GCS. I'm not sure if it's clear. I understand it's not, I think it's a point of failure because if the promotion fails for whatever reason, we block the entire release process at some point. But because we want to replicate those blobs between two different object storage services, we basically, it's a possibility.
We're saying, you know, so I think we're saying something different in that I think we're effectively saying that like this is not, it's not a mirror, right? It's we're saying in basically what I understand of this proxy, we're saying that the AWS stuff is just as much a first-class citizen as our current infrastructure, because we're blocking our process on the ability to get to it.
Yes, it is not a mirror, it's part of the entire artifact.
Exactly, it's not a mirror. It's not a mirror. So I think language-wise, we should stop calling it a mirror. If this is the way that we want to do it, we should stop calling it a mirror. It is a first-class citizen.
But that's the end goal. I mean, in the first part, we don't want to do that. Basically, we want to do that in over time. That's the end goal. Make sure we build an entire artifact distribution infrastructure with GCS and S3. But it's not something we want to do that right now. It's something we want to do maybe by end of 125 and try to build some kind of disaster recovery plan around all of this.
Got it. So what are the expectations going into 125?
I don't have strong expectation. I would expect we have all of this up and running, and we basically have registry case.io embedded in the KK repo. So now anyone using Kubernetes 125 in production can use that endpoint. And if that person is running a cluster inside Amazon, it can pull directly from S3.
So
but like I say, it's not, I mean, I don't think we want to make that an ultimate goal. I think for 125, we want to make sure we introduce that step during the promotion process. Because there's a lot to cover. We need to have a very good test coverage around a lot of things.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, stepping back, I'm sorry, but I'm hearing two different things. One, that we want to execute on it by the end of 125, and that we don't, or we're okay with not. So I think it'd be helpful to understand, like, what concretely are we trying to do for 125?
Okay.
Like, what's our,
There are two things. The first part of the proxy, and the first part of basically OCI proxy is a pure redirect to kgci.io. That's the first part, and that's what's up and running right now.
And that's done.
For 125, we want to make sure that endpoint is inside the KK repo. That's the first goal. So that gives us room to do whatever we want about OCI proxy later. That's the first goal. I think for me, at least, that's the first goal. Now, in the meantime, we can work in the promotion process to Amazon.
Well,
Now
here's the
that's a
thing.
goal
So,
we can decide to set for 125 or later extend to 126.
okay, so I think that, you know, search and replace is easy to back out of, right? But
Yeah.
we're the fee, like if the, so I mean there are certain aspects like our promotion images themselves, the K-promo images right now are already pointing to registry.k.io. I know that there are a few things that have been flipped over there too.
Yep.
I think part of my concern would be, you know, what's our back out plan if things start going weird.
I don't think we have a backup plan because I don't think we were at the point we are doing. We are ready to basically build backup solution.
And from our side, once things get shifted around to meet the new requirements, they can remain that way. I mean, it's just the order of things happening. It's a lot of code to do, a lot of coding to do, because we have to make a lot of changes for that to happen. Currently, the plan to modify this is coming from SIG Infra, and I'm sort of just advising on the sidelines to make sure that. So the goals from my side is that one, the process from our side looks exactly the same. Nothing changes. Nothing changes with the signatures, and basically it's transparent from our side. And if the plan to have the blobs copied to AWS fails for whatever reason, we can still keep the process as in the new shape it's going to take, because nothing's going to change from our side. But that said, things are still under discussion and moving, but that's my end goal and the current guardrails I'm trying to add to the effort from the release engineering side.
So I think, you know, so I think it maybe functionally the process doesn't change, but the user experience can change, right? So if we have changed if we have changed references to use registry.k.io instead, and we roll out a bad version of the logic of this, it's on in production. So when I was suggesting like what's our backout process, like how do we revert that outside of changing the references?
Basically, we can revert to the initial state of the proxy, which is redirect-to-kgci.io.
Okay.
So I mean,
just as long as we have that failover logic, that's what I want to make sure.
If for whatever reason we basically release a bad version of that logic, we just have to revert. And revert is not like, it's basically redeploy OCI proxy, which takes 3 to 5 minutes.
All right, cool.
I don't know if there are any other questions around this topic or.
I mean, one thing I would like to mention is that so looking at the MVP issue for the container image signing, then we are mostly done. We just have to add it to the changelog, which can be optional. So we don't have to block on this. And I would expect that we update our enhancement afterwards in the next cycle with follow-up work, like parallelizing all the stuff and things around, things like that. So my question would be now, do we want to integrate something like the whole mirroring topic into this cap, or do we want to stick with, I think we just have a tracking issue right now, right? So how do we want to handle this topic in the next releases?
So I think that we should close out on the initial cap, right? If it is, you know, get to the point where we can say, because I mean the goals are separate, right? signing as its own thing, right? So I think part of signing the beta or V1 or something is what we're doing today, right? And then the next iteration of that, kind of from the infrastructure and sub-project level, is trust delegation, right? If I've got that right. Adolfo is like,
well, no, I mean, it's part of the first thing that you said, to that we still have things to move, because the KEP not only involves signing the actual images, but also signing the artifacts, and we also have to sign the attestations we produce inside of the processes. So things will still move on our side, and hopefully the AWS project doesn't derail us from anything. That's the goal, and so plans should stay as they are from our side, and close things when they have to be closed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, any other comments and questions on this topic?
Arno, could you link the do we have a merged KEP for this proxy or this redirect?
Oh, there's no KEP for that, because yeah, I mean,
I know Ben has a proposal. I know Ben has a proposal, and if it's not a KEP, it should be a KEP. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, and the README just got updated last week, so you will find basically what the description of OCI proxy and the proposal is here.
Okay. Yeah, this is. So I would suggest, kind of from the Kate's infra side. I'm just looking through. Yeah, because I've been checking while we've been talking. I'd suggest from the Kate's infra side, like, this is not a new process. This proposal should be a KEP. This proposal effectively doesn't exist to the community without it being a KEP.
But we don't enhance Kubernetes per se. We change a piece of infrastructure. So that
is an enhancement to the project.
On which point exactly?
You're changing you're changing a fundamental piece of the project that is going to affect the way that we deliver artifacts to the community. It's absolutely a change.
And it touches other SIGs as well, so that
touches everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna ask who would be required to start the KEP, us or infra, Kate's infra?
It's infra we're supporting. We need to sign off on this as well.
Okay.
Like that, in addition to changing the way that we're delivering artifacts to the community, to customers, it's also changing. Like, we have to plan the work around this. It's changing stuff that we have to maintain within the promotion tools.
Okay. It's a long conversation, and I agree with what you're saying.
So I don't necessarily. I don't think we should necessarily hash it out here. The community has a defined process for proposing changes to it. It's a Kubernetes enhancement proposal process. It should be followed. The Google proposal that lands on desks is not a proposal that's accepted by the community, even if community members are reviewing it. The reason I was asking about where the proposal is, because I couldn't find it as a KEP. I couldn't find it linked. So if I can't find it, someone else can't find it. Someone doesn't know how these changes are going to affect them. This is roughly in KEP shape already, It just needs to get turned into something in the repo.
Okay, so okay.
Cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
Sascha, so do we have a define who's going to take care of this KEP, or that's just TBD?
It's Kate's Infra. Kate's
it's
Infra is
Infra.
the owning.
Okay.
Yeah, Kate's Infra is owning. SIG release needs to be on as a supporting SIG and a final approver.
Okay, one clarification. Basically, land registry Kates.io without doing the mirror is only Kates Infra responsibility.
Sorry, say that again.
So if we basically decide to land registry Kates.io without doing the mirror stuff, without promote the blobs to X3, basically it's a KEP, but we basically say we serve the blob layers through a proxy going to kgcr.io.
So ultimately, it's something that we're asking production users to change, right?
No, because
Yes.
it's gonna be part of the release, so we don't ask people to change. It's gonna be embedded in. It's gonna be embedded in basically the container runtime or any component inside.
But the references change, right? From registry.kates.io to Kates, from kates.gcr.io to registry.kates.io, right?
Yep.
Those are production references. It is a change to the community. It's a change to consumers of Kubernetes. It needs to be documented.
Okay.
All right, we have 50 minutes left. Any other comments regarding release engineering? Because if not, then I would like to continue to release team updates. James, do you want to give us an update?
Hello. So it is
James. Sorry, real quick. Navarone looks like he just threw his hand up. It might be release engineering related.
Sorry, I can go later as well, but it's release engineering related. So I just wanted to give an update on the patch releases and the pre-release. So on the patch releases, right now we are at a state where for one release, we have the images promoted as well. For 1.22 and 1.23, we have the promotion PRs staged. Once we get an acknowledgement from the Google build admins on when they will be free, we can remove the hold. And that would be around 3 hours till the time the packages would be available for them to sign. That's on the patch release side. We are yet to get an answer from them. So that when we release today depends on that answer from them. For pre-releases, we are cutting release candidate 0 for 1.24 today. The mock release step is under progress. While the no mock stage will be happening, I will be working on the post branch creation jobs. We'll put a hold on them explicitly so that they can be run later. So that's the updates we have. I expect some hiccups on the creation of jobs part, because I remember we had some hiccups last time as well with respect to the rotator script that rotates the job names. I have some context from before. I'll try to tackle them along the way.
So are you going to be able to fix? Do you want me to pick that up? I have some time later. I just need to know if you want me to, because like I think this is maybe the second or so time that we're going into and breaking the job. So like this time we need to fix them. We need to fix the rotators before letting the new jobs out.
Sure. So what I can do is I can run the rotator once. If the validation still fails, I'll ping you. Let's say give me
I can
half an hour or
yeah,
so.
I can. So with the, within the last week or week and a half or so, I think the last time we were chatting about this, I did try to generate the jobs. Generating the jobs works. I know that the references are still wrong. So there's still stuff to be fixed.
Yeah, there needs to be some suffix which needs to be removed for the validation
Exactly.
to pass, which I
Yeah.
remember. So let's talk async out of the meeting.
Yeah, sure.
On the thread,
Sure.
probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
just let me know. I mean, so I can plan the day. Just let me know if you want me to work on them.
Sure,
And I can
sure.
do that while
I'll
you're
just
doing
let
other
you
stuff.
know. Yeah, sure. I'll just let you know in a bit.
Cool. And let's also
Okay,
get
thanks, Stephen.
yeah, no problem. Who's your handoff?
I plan to do the announcements and stage the PRs before I leave for the day. So I have bandwidth, but Jim probably is there around.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm releasing all the pending releases that we had last week, so I will be online for the rest of the day. So if you need me to push the release toward the final steps, I'm available because I will be doing that for the others. Anyway. Okay, Jim is here, so
Cool.
that's handy.
So
Thanks,
now Varun, stay in contact with Jim and Veronica, and hand off when don't work too hard, get sleep, make sure you hand it off at a reasonable time.
And also we need
Sure.
Ben, sorry, never. We need to coordinate with Ben for the other releases. So I guess that won't happen soon.
I did notice that Ben is not on call today. Someone else is the Google build admin. Oh, I think Arno is also writing that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
do we
it's a
know
rotation program. Basically, every week they have a rotation program inside the Google Build admin team. So it's not done
Okay.
this week,
That's
but
great.
it's gonna be around if there's a trouble.
I see. The last time, I don't know if this changed recently, but last week I saw that the only person who gets pinged when we mention that account is Ben.
So there's a configuration in test infra. When they rotate the test infra on call, they also rotate the Google build admin on call.
Gotcha.
So so it ends up that only one person is ever in that alias.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see because we don't have a response yet. So, but it's okay because it's still early in Bay Area. But I'll be here all day. So if you need to hand me some things, Navarun and Jim, I guess you are in a friendlier time zone for that. So we'll coordinate.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry for cutting you off, James, but you're
No, it's all right. I missed Navarun's hand up. All right. Yeah, it is week 15 of the release. This is the originally scheduled release day was today. But of course, we have the big news, delayed the release by 2 weeks. So the kind of main final official release date for Kubernetes 2024 is in 2 weeks' time on the 3rd of May. We're cutting RC0 today, as Navarun just said, and we're planning to cut RC1 next week, this time next week on the 26th. Our big showstopper bug, the one that caused all this hoo-ha in the first place, has been fixed in Go 118.1, and I believe it has been tested and the bug's now been fixed in Kubernetes, which is great. That's good to hear. Other than that, things are looking pretty positive, honestly. We've gone down to 1 synchronous meeting a week, and we're just doing Slack threads for the rest because we suspect at this point most teams will not have updates most of the time, but we'll do ad hoc meetings if anything comes up. There's a SIG node issue knocking around that we're taking a look at. I don't think that's been promoted to like a bug yet, but they're looking at it from a performance test point of view and to take a closer look at that. Only other thing to mention is that I noticed the release notes team are having a lot of issues with KREL, getting it to KREL, how we want to say it, getting it to work to produce release notes. I asked them in the meeting today whether they want it escalated, and they said that they're fine for now, but they're having lots of trouble getting it to run. So probably need some follow up there, try and figure out what's going on exactly.
Where is that? Where is that being tracked? Are they mentioning it on the channel? Like, I think it's worthwhile to escalate earlier rather than later.
I will find that out. I think it's in the release notes, release dash notes channel. They've been talking about it for a while. I mean, to be honest, I've not been tracking it too closely, but they've been having lots of problems convincing. I think the crux of it, and again, I haven't looked in too much detail because they've not asked, that they kind of said that they don't need too much help. I think the crux of it is that they're having trouble convincing Krell to contact GitHub correctly using either SSH or not SSH, whatever they're trying to do. I'll ask them if there's a tracking issue and kind of chase that up. But they seem to be okay for now. But things to mention. Other than that, the 125 team is coming along. I'm not too close to this, of course. Oh, someone has a hand up.
Yeah, I want to add a clarification on what you say about cryo.
Okay.
Krell, not cryo.
Krell.
So I think Sascha worked on that maybe 2-3 weeks. So there's basically some of those jobs running are successful inside the Google infrastructure, but when we move that to the community infrastructure, there's an issue with SSH authentication. So
no, we are talking about Krell, the Kubernetes release engineering tooling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
this is like you. I presume it works the same way as when I was in release notes. You'd get the Krell thing on your laptop, and you would like Krell release notes and give it some tag names, and it goes and clones the entire of KK and does a bunch of stuff and hits a GitHub rate limit and then spits out a file. Yeah, I'll take an action to go chase it up and make sure that's been tracked somewhere so we can keep an eye on it for next time. 125 is going on. Joseph, I think you've got more detail on this than I do, but the survey's out.
Yeah, we're 125 teams all assembled. I think we had just one adjustment, and that was kind of like we had to reach out for CI signal. The shadows that we thought would be great for the role as lead were not available. And so then we reached out and decided to look back, and Arsh Sharma was somebody that we knew did a great job. And so he stepped in, and so we'll have him there to help complete that team. Everything else is in motion. I know that Ray and CC, I gave him a list of individuals that expressed interest in shadowing as leads. So I think that's the only thing that's still kind of being determined. Outside of that, I just have to get the survey out for the end of the release cycle, and then just close up a few remaining things, and we'll be pretty much done.
So I saw that there's also some conversation about notional start date for the 125 cycle. And because we're, usually we like to give a few weeks of, gap between the previous and the next. But because we moved to 2 weeks ahead or 2 weeks back, depending on how you look at it, we're still bouncing that around, right?
Yeah, I think that's still outstanding. I haven't looked too closely, I must admit, on what they're putting together in 125.
Yeah, I linked the PR about the conversation.
Thank you, Sascha.
So the baseline is we can start by the beginning of May, but we can also discuss moving it, for example, right after KubeCon, because as Stephen already mentioned, we usually give 2 weeks in between of releases, but yeah, this would probably shrink down the timelines for the next 2 releases.
Yeah, so if we're going to consider doing that, we should get some thrilling debate as soon as possible, because ideally the release dates do not change for 125 or the rough targets for each of the big deadlines don't change. That way we won't have to slip for 126. 126 is like, 126, if we get stuck with a slip, that's not going to be great since there's so many holidays backed up in the end of the year. So trying our best to figure out where we can condense certain timelines for this one probably makes more sense than trying to push it too far out.
Yeah, if
Or
you
trying
end
to
up,
push 126 out the same amount of time that we push 125 out.
yeah, you're going to end with 120. If you delay it, you'll end up with a choice with 126 fundamentally of making it shorter to fit it in before the holidays, or making it super long and doing like the RC's release stuff kind of just after the holidays and the start of next year. Both of which aren't ideal in my opinion. So
not attractive. Going into the holidays, not attractive at all. Or waiting until the holidays are behind us is not the best option. So yeah, ideally we can figure out something that split the difference between the two, and also be careful of upcoming conferences.
Do a branch cut on the 25th of December, right? Everyone's on game for that.
I mean, if we start post KubeCon, we will roughly have 3 months releases for the rest of the year. It will be 3 months each if we want to complete before the vacation start. So we're back to 2 years back.
Full circle.
Yeah, I mean, we never said
changed.
Yeah, we never said
Something
three. Yeah, right. We never said 3-month releases, right? We said 3 releases per year. So.
3 releases per year, exactly. Yeah, I think we were careful with the language.
One long one, 2 short ones.
Okay.
Little architecture.
Do we have anything else related? Because we have one open discussion topic from Joseph.
I think Joseph has a question about KubeCon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
Oh, just a brief one. I was at a ContribuX meeting the other day. Looks like they kind of have like a content lead. Still waiting for a little bit more details about the contributor summit, but initially it was coming off as an unconference, but now it looks like there may be some structure. So just wasn't sure if SIG Release was planning to participate in this for the contributor summit.
So I plan to be there. Steering is going to be doing something as well. So I will be in the house for Contributor Summit. I would say that if any, what we used to do when we were in person was have kind of these big room, bunch of tables. SIGs had their placards down. If a contributor wanted to come visit our SIG and hear what we're about. And opportunities to contribute. That's where you do it kind of like meet and greet at the end of the summit. So I don't know if that's what this is going to kind of turn into in addition to content. But I would say anyone from SIG Release who's planning on going to KubeCon and interested in participating in any way, please let us know. Arne?
Yeah, basically just want to confirm what Joseph said. It's still going to be an in-conference format, but if you have a subject in mind or something you want to talk about, you can bring it, because we don't have a specific structure for content. What the Contributor Summit Committee is interested is have people with subject, and we can answer that during the day. But there's no structure, because it's going to be, the initial program is going to be a session with steering, and the rest going to be all-way track and subject to talk about, but nothing very specific. We have a content lead because we want to organize chaos, because in certain conference format, there's going to be some kind of chaos during that day. So we have a content lead to organize anyone interested to bring up a subject and trying to make sure people have room to talk about, because there's not a lot of room during the Contributor Summit. So we want to make sure everyone has enough time and space to speak this subject. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any further comments regarding Contributor Summit?
Do we know when we need to know things by, or when we need to say that we're doing things by?
Like the last meeting, it wasn't clear, but you know what I can do? I can follow up and chat with them and see, because it felt like it was unfolding last week. So let me just double check. And I think Arnaud may be right. But it seemed like Bobby Tables was kind of bringing up, there was kind of like some open idea discussion. So I can follow up on that.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a meeting today in around 2 hours. So you can basically come and ask question.
Cool, thanks, Joseph. We are already out of time. So thank you all for attending. Enjoy the rest of the day and see you soon. Bye.
Take it easy, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.